This is the Media Police Post, broadcasting from the Fort Hall School of Government. In this show, we police the state of truth in the Republic. And because truth is communicated to us by journalists and analysts, we have made it our civic duty to put it to the test. We advance from two confirmed truths about the media. One, and according to Roger Stone, the media is either lazy or evil. And for the most part, it is both evil and lazy. That is why the truth, their truth, must be put to a test.
And two, that journalism is verified gossip. In fact, what is presented to us as news analysis is gossip that has been verified by journalists. This gossip has to be ground-truthed. We will assess the state of truth in what they submit to the Republic, and we will pass verdict on what is true and what is not. For the record, we are not journalists. We are thinkers. We are not lazy or evil, and we do not verify gossip. What we give you is the truth that sets you free.
On today's show, we will discuss ideas that reflect unformed and uninformed opinions and ideas that made you stupid. Narratives that fell into the cognitive trap of we see things as we are, not as they are. Narratives based on conjecture history and those that smack of envelope journalisms. Karibu, Ms. K and AX.
Thank you so much. So today I will be responding to Tom Shindi's article in yesterday's Sunday Nation titled Uncomfortable Stories of the State of the Other Nation. In it, Mshindi attempts to take the president to task on his State of the Nation address, arguing that in this other nation, and I quote, is evidence of other pledges not met, an unmet pledge to provide affordable housing for thousands of Kenyans, and another one to secure all Kenyans against hunger, end quote. In this other nation, according to Mshindi, corruption abounds, unemployment is rampant, and debt is king. Now, this article made me feel stupid for many reasons, and we will get to it, but it is emblematic of the ones commenting on the President's State of the Nation address last Tuesday. Each one paints a vision of a Kenya allegedly scarred by the Uhuru presidency, all while dismissing the progress his presidency has helped usher in. This is because the authors, including Mshindi, are biased against the future. Let me explain. I wager that Mshindi is blinded by and bound to the present. Human beings, by their very nature, are short-term creatures, blinded by and bound to our present. This is because our ability to value long-term considerations, benefits, or consequences is impaired by the preference for immediate gain. Psychologists call this discounting the future, and I believe that this is what Mshindi may be doing, and perhaps worse still, what he may be encouraging his readers to do. He is encouraging his readers to denounce the president because we have not immediately benefited from ongoing development projects. And in so doing, he is encouraging his readers to discount a core principle of development. Development takes time. Thus, Mshindi's implicit insistence that we should discount the future renders us incapable of understanding what the president is doing. The president is planting seeds, knowing that they will not all bear fruit in his tenure, because, and again, development takes time. After all, and according to John Shkar, the future is not some place we are going, but one we are creating. The paths are not to be found, but to be made. And the activity of making them changes both the maker and the destination. How else would you explain projects like the Lamu Port, the Tiba Dam, or Kenya's plan to establish a vaccine manufacturing facility? But when a mind is blinded by and bound to the present, it is incapable of seeing how Kenya has changed in the last 8 years. In citing the money lost from corruption, Mshindi ignored the fact that the EACC has recovered 12 times as many public assets in 2020 as they did in 2014. In asserting that our national debt is far too high, Mshindi ignores the fact that debt is integral to the development of a nation. And in maligning the president's record on job creation, Mshindi overlooks the fact that in the last 8 years, over 4 million new jobs have been created. In essence, things are not as bad as you have been told. And perhaps more optimistically, things can always get better. Is this not the story of Kenya? Therefore, Kenyans, do not allow yourself to be misled, to believe that the other nation Mshindi references is fixed and permanent. Instead, the state of the nation is strong and getting better.
I like that. Yes. So I'll give you a little palate cleanser in between two State of the Nation addresses. This week I'll address a crazy idea peddled by Odoyo Owidi. this weekend, in a piece in the title Standard, what if Ruto says Raila Tosha in the 2022 poll contest? So in the article, Owidi says that when Raila shelved his personal ambition and made the famous Kibaki Tosha pronouncement on October 14th, 2002, weeks of the general election, he bought the Mount Kenya vote wholesale. So when Raila endorsed Kibaki, the Gema vote came in bulk and it came in cheap. And the opposition united under a rainbow coalition and won the election. The question then is this: is Ruto capable of shelving his personal ambition and allowing Raila to become president? Can Ruto declare Raila Tosha? And I think he should, because it is in his best interest and it is in the common interest of the country. So politics is a game, and in my view, Raila and Ruto are playing a game in game theory called the stag hunt, which is attributed to J.J. Rousseau. And it's the same game that Raila and Kibaki played in 2002. So in the stag hunt, two hunters must each decide whether to hunt a stag together or to hunt rabbits alone. A stag is the equivalent of a big antelope, and half a stag antelope is better than a small rabbit. So one hunter can catch a rabbit alone with less effort, less time, but it is worth far less than a stag and has much less meat. But both hunters know that the only way to successfully hunt the stag is with the other's help. So if either hunts the stag alone, the chances of success are minimal. So both Raila and Ruto are on the hunt for the presidency. But the question Owidi asks is this: is Ruto capable of being a statesman and showing respect for Raila, his older opponent? Because according to Owido, if Ruto magnanimously declares Raila Tosha, then in the next election, things will change. And the Kikuyu will call him Jaba, the Luo will call him Ratego, the Luya will call him Omwami, and the Kalenjin will call him Orkoyot. But all this could be wishful thinking, because a leopard cannot change its spots.
Wow.
So I'd like to take it back to the state of the nation. The president had occasion to address a joint sitting of the august Houses of Parliament last week. Essentially, he was given an account to more than 50 million Kenyans, because essentially he was addressing the elected representatives that gather in the capital as ambassadors of the people from all the four corners of our great republic. History and the records of Parliament will register that for almost 3 hours, President Uhuru Kenyatta articulated an elaborate track record of development. Many more hours can be spent unpacking all that he highlighted. But for today, allow us to offer just a few insights. Firstly, anyone who has paid close attention on the occasions that the president has spoken on national days will realize that he has been deliberate about elevating our understanding of nation building, not just development. In many ways, he has not just been saying that what he has done, he has also been giving us a civic education. His speeches tend to have concepts and frameworks that demonstrate a big picture view of the affairs of the nation and how everything is connected. The tragedy is that politicking lures us into focusing on a few trees so intensely that we become blind to the panorama of the forest in all its vastness. Allow us to offer an example. Some people would like you to believe that the president abandoned the Big Four agenda. Nothing can be farther from the truth.
Amen.
What some of your politicians do not want you to understand, partly because some of them don't understand this themselves, is that you cannot address the goals under the Big Four without addressing the factors that will enable those Big Four goal agendas. For example, one of the pillars under the Big Four is manufacturing. The simple fact is, you cannot talk about manufacturing if you have not addressed energy. In the last 8 years, Kenya has jumped to the front of the queue in Africa in terms of power connections to the national grid. We are second only to Egypt, and we have connected more households than South Africa and Nigeria combined. Furthermore, in 8 years, Uhuru has doubled the capacity of the national grid from 1,300 megawatts to 2,600 megawatts. Uhuru connected 325 megawatts per year compared to an average of 12 megawatts per year by the previous administrations. This is the energy that will power industry and manufacturing. And by the way, more than 70% of it is green energy. And in addition, there are now reforms underway to significantly reduce the cost of energy, which will translate to wider profit margins and more money injected into the economy, or at least reinvested into industries, which will mean more jobs. Still, on manufacturing, you cannot expand manufacturing if you do not have the infrastructure to transport what you manufacture. So when the president tells us that we have doubled the tarmacked road network in 8 years, which includes expanding major road arteries like the Northern Corridor, including the expressway and the Rironi-Mau Summit Road, when he tells us that we have revived the trade routes in Lake Victoria, or that we have revived part of the old meter gauge railway network from Nairobi to Nyanyuki at fractions of the cost, or that the Lamu port along the coast is set to disrupt how global trade is conducted in international waters. All this is set to drastically reduce both the cost and time of getting goods to market, while also significantly expanding our revenue streams. So one is left to wonder, how can anyone suggest that Big Four has been abandoned when all that the president has done has set us up for a revolution in manufacturing? And such a major impact in manufacturing will translate to more jobs. These are part of the big push investments. They're connected. You cannot talk about manufacturing if you do not talk about energy and transport. But it is not just the infrastructure. You can see that the president has also been deliberate about creating an enabling environment. In a major way, the 250 billion in stimulus packages were deliberate, aimed at enabling and empowering medium and small enterprises to thrive. But even beyond the 250 billion, there have been other incentives, including tax incentives aimed at the inputs that go into the affordable housing programs, which is another pillar of the Big Four. And a lot of people may be tempted to think that affordable housing is about government building houses for the vast majority of citizens. When in fact, part of the rationale is that if you build enough affordable houses, then the rest of the private housing market is forced to review its pricing downwards. Which means more people also get affordable housing from private developers. It's economics. And we can do an entire episode just on healthcare, because the president has done more to expand access to affordable healthcare in 8 years than has ever been done since independence. Not too long ago, there weren't more than 20 hospitals across the country. And now as we speak, there are more than 20 health facilities in Nairobi alone, and more being built across the country at a rapid rate. These are just a few examples that help us understand that not only does the president know exactly what he is doing it very well. And as students of government, one of the most impressive things about the achievements of President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration is that he has done it against all odds.
Against all odds.
Thank you for joining us on the Media Police Post. Journalists, columnists, William Ruto, you have been put on notice. See you next Monday.